Hey guys, so this is another preview. Just to clarify, if you didn't catch this message in other videos, I'm not in a position in terms of my life circumstances, my health, my finances, everything. It's honestly a bit of a mess. It is slowly coming right. It's slowly improving, and it's all about to come around. Yeah, God wins in the end, and good always defeats evil. So it's always going to work. It's going to work out. But I'm not there yet. I'm not out of the woods, so I can't do the full version of this video of a prophetic dream, which I had, which is important, and I'll put it out as soon as I can, but I don't know when that will be. But it's important enough a message that I feel to put out this preview of it, because there are people who need to be aware of it, I feel. So I don't know the exact date when I had the dream. I'd have to check my dream journal, but here is roughly what I got shown by God via the Holy Spirit in this dream. So I was shown in this particular dream that England is kind of a special case within the shared, the Anglosphere, the English-speaking countries, the core of which is the United States, Canada, UK, New Zealand, and Australia. Peripherally, you can include South Africa. They say Ireland. They say Ireland is part of it. I wouldn't really say they are, because I don't think most Irish would say they are either. I think they'd say they're kind of peripheral because they have their own culture, and they were colonized. But yeah, peripherally, you could also put South Africa in there and Ireland. But those five are the core of it. And I was shown that England will have a special case within the Anglosphere, which is a sub branch of Western civilization. And then the other main branch is just the European countries. You can kind of subdivide that further. But I would say the main division within Western civilization is the Anglo-Saxon countries and the European ones. And then within the Anglo-Saxon branch, you can further divide that. The big division there is between the conservative, Christian, rural, heartland, flyover states of the US and liberal parts of the US, UK, New Zealand, Australia, and Canada, which have New Zealand, Australia, UK, and Canada have more in common culturally with liberal parts of the US than they do with Christian, rural, red state, heartland, flyover country, United States. So yeah, that's the sub branch within the sub branch. That part of the US is the sub branch of the Anglo-Saxon countries, the Anglosphere, which is a sub branch itself of Western civilization. It branched off and kind of grew in a different direction. But yeah, I've shown that England is going to be, in terms of civilian massacres and genocide, it's basically going to be worst there. If not worst there, it will be among the worst. It's going to be ridiculously, horrifically bad. I probably won't and can't put the link in the description box, but I'll see if I can have a look in the next few days or weeks, and if I do find it, I will put it there, because the link is buried within the links of many blog entries that Jan de Villiers, South African Christian, who also gets many prophetic dreams about World War III, has made in his blog. But he was showing dreams, just, oh my gosh, these are freaking horrible dreams. You could hear the English people just groaning and moaning in agony, it was just horror. And there were these huge balls of fire rolling across these kind of previously pleasant, genteel, quiet English suburbia, and people dying in hundreds of thousands of millions, just being tortured to death effectively in terms of their agony. Well, they will be, the civilians in many cases. There's Danny from the channel, he's English, from the channel Christian Communities. I'll post one of his videos. He posted a video about this. He was showing armies from the east, and they were just slaughtering everyone. I mean, they were going house to house, and they were, putting bullets in the head of babies, men, women, children, please, no, just no expression, just boom, just calmly, coldly executing everyone, just wiping out entire towns and cities. There's a similar dream, I'll post that on the description box below. It's horrific, describing civilian massacres in Canada in World War III, and the forces, they kill 50 to 100,000 people. They just show up out of nowhere in Kitchener, Ontario, and they just march people to a canyon. Then everyone just gets shot. and there's families with their babies, and the kids and the babies can't keep up, and they start to slow down. They just get bayoneted and shot, like calmly. It's just not like boom, and survivors kind of manage to find a cave to hide into, or they hid under dead bodies. So in Canada it's going to be pretty bad. But I was shown. I'll put those two links in the description below. See if I can find the one for Jan de Villiers. I mean, it's horrific, the level of the stuff that's coming. I've had about 5 dreams now about these horrible civilian massacres which will occur in New Zealand. Look, the purpose isn't to scare people. It's just to warn them, to say, get your SHIT together, get your plan ready, and get to safety if you're not planning to fight, because this is going to be horrific. So God is just trying to warn people, that good people who have eyes to see and ears to hear, that you don't want to be within 1,000 miles of this thing when it goes down, because it's going to be literal hell on earth. And what it was shown is, England's going to get it the worst, if not the worst, then among the worst, to repeat and clarify, among Western countries. And part of that is because the country itself has very, very heavy collective karma for past imperialism. But please refer to the video that I just posted about my official view on World War III and what side I take. That's a longer one, but I talk about it in there. England has heavy karma for past imperialism, but England, which has a bad reputation globally, it is not that bad compared to many, many other countries. So it's not just, white people are evil, white Christendom is evil. That's complete nonsense, and it's simply not true. And interestingly, in the stream, God was actually showing me that England has a bad reputation, but there's a lot of things that people overlook. There's so many good things about England and the English that even myself, I've overlooked at times. There's a lot of toxicity there, but it gets, in many ways, there has a kind of this sort of a bit of a bad reputation for arrogance and kind of imperialism historically, and that is partly deserved. But at the same time, there is a lot of there's so much good there. There are still really good people. England's produced, and the English have produced amazing inventions that have really helped the world, that have changed the world. There's historically been, and still is, a real culture of honor and doing the right thing and just being a good person. And, there's lots of really great things about England. And God was actually saying it's not as bad as most people think. And look at all these beautiful things that England has given the world. It was kind of sweet. I was being shown that in the dream. But I was also, I'll get into the future, but there is a group I was shown. It's kind of reflecting this weird polarity where you've got a lot of darkness, but then a lot of good stuff. Associated with that, I was shown there's a very, very large group of very, very good, conscious, kind of godly, if you will. A lot of them wouldn't even call it that. They would just say being a good person. A lot of these people aren't even Christians. They're just, spiritual or agnostics, but they're really good, just good people, regardless of their spirituality or religion. And basically, God was showing me that if at all possible, they need to be warned, because they really, really don't deserve to go through what's coming and to be involved in England receiving its karma, because these people are good people who just would never support the actions that created that karma. And I got shown that basically England is a special case. They're going to get it particularly bad. It's effectively genocide they'll be going through, like the other Anglo-Saxon countries. I mean, so many civilians will be killed. It'll effectively be genocide. You could argue the semantics there a bit and just say the civilian massacres, but for simplicity's sake, we'll just call it genocide. It's basically what it's going to be. It's going to be, the worst there. But then at the same time, they have this unusually large group of particularly positive people who need to be warned. Yeah. So I'll do the full video in the future, but that's an important message that needs to be put out there now. And that's the purpose of the channel, right? To warn people. I mean, who knows? Maybe I can go to England in the few coming years and do more to get this message out to the people there who need it. Because I've met some of those people, and I've found that in all the Anglo-Saxon countries, and there is this polarity of consciousness where you get one. I literally, like with New Zealanders, I've experienced this with New Zealanders and Americans. Literally, some of the worst people on earth I've met are New Zealanders and Americans, but also some of the best. Uh, it's really weird. Like, I'm not kidding. Like, I noticed in Ecuador. Yeah, I mean, I only met five or six New Zealanders in Ecuador in 4.5 years. But like, most Americans were nice that I met there. But the very worst people I met in Ecuador, most of them, oh, at least half were Americans. But then the very best, most of the very best people I met, most of them in Ecuador were um, Americans. And most Ecuadorians are lovely. They're just sweet. But in terms of people from other countries, yeah. So there's this weird polarity of consciousness. So I guess that's partly why I'm getting this warning, because to put out there, because yeah, it's this bizarre situation where a particularly horrific fate is coming to this one nation within Great Britain. I got told it's specifically England, not. I know, I'm aware it's that the UK is Wales, Scotland, England, Northern Ireland. God was specifically saying the nation of England, not the state, within the state of the United Kingdom. They're going to get it the worst, but like at the same time they have some of the best people, and I got shown it's a very, very large group. I got the sense it was at least 10 million people, probably quite a bit more, who need that warning. So I mean, that's pretty much it. Please refer to the disclaimer in the description box below if you have not already done so. I think for only your path, but I think any one of those four, South Africa, Ecuador, Argentina, or Chile, would be a good fit for Poms, English, Brits trying to, English in particular, wanting to emigrate. I would say an interesting point to make is that for English people considering emigrating, Chile has the largest percentage ethnically of their population of English descent of any Latin American country. I think it's like 7 or 8%. It's surprisingly high. And then if you look at Chileans of Welsh descent, of Scottish descent, of Irish descent, and then also of other European groups like Croatians, Germans, like current president of Chile is of Croatian descent. Like you look at his surname, Boric. Germans, and there's a couple of others. Like the total percentage of people in Chile of Northern European descent, it's like I think it's about 20. It's over 20% of the population. I'll have to check. I'll put a link in the description box below to English Chile. It's like English Chileans, but I think I think a lot of English people would do quite well in Chile because they. I mean, actually, the Chile views, from what I understand, the UK and that part of the world in England quite positively, because there was there were actually some very important people in Chile's history who are of English descent, who later became Chileans, who helped them win big battles and do positive things for their country. So there's a bit of English culture in the positive parts of it in Chilean cultural DNA and their collective consciousness. So I think just something to think about. I mean, it's like only your path, but if you're English and you're looking for a safe zone country to go to, again, you're responsible for what you do with this information. But like, I will say, I'm getting guided myself to go to Chile to avoid the war. I'm planning to buy land there one day in the future, so I'm not giving you advice that I'm not myself living by. Chile, for English people who do not plan to fight in World War III, you should definitely leave England. Yeah, Chile could be a good option. Just something to think about. Thanks.